D.B. Cooper, the skyjacker who vanished on November 24, 1971. The day before Thanksgiving, a man walked into Portland International Airport with nothing but a briefcase and a ticket under the name Don Cooper. He purchased a one-way flight to Seattle aboard Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 3Hive, a 30-minute flight with 36 passengers. He looked ordinary, middle-aged, around 6 feet tall, wearing a black suit, a thin tie, and a white shirt. He ordered a bourbon and soda while waiting for takeoff. And then, just after the flight reached cruising altitude, he handed a note to the flight attendant. At first, she assumed it was just a phone number, so she pocketed it without reading. He leaned toward her and said quietly, "Miss, you'd better read that note. I have a bomb." The note's exact wording has never been made public. But what we do know is this: Cooper claimed he had explosives in his briefcase. He opened it briefly and showed her wires, red sticks, and a battery. He then made his demands: $200,000 in cash for parachutes, 2 main, 2 reserve, and a fuel truck on standby in Seattle to refuel the aircraft for a getaway. The flight crew relayed the message to air traffic control, who contacted the FBI, and somehow everyone cooperated. When the flight landed in Seattle, Cooper let the 36 passengers go in exchange for the money and parachutes. The FBI delivered unmarked bills, mostly in 20s. Over 20 pounds of cash. The crew, including the pilot and a flight attendant, remained on board. Cooper gave instructions for the next flight leg. They were to fly to Mexico City at low altitude, with the landing gear down and the flaps at 15 degrees. He refused any military escort, and at approximately 7:40 p.m., the aircraft took off again, heading south. Somewhere over the dense forests of southwestern Washington, between 8 and 8:13 p.m., D.B. Cooper lowered the rear staircase of the aircraft and jumped into the freezing darkness. With 2 parachutes, the ransom strapped to his body, and 10,000-foot mountains below. What followed was one of the most extensive manhunts in FBI history. Helicopters, planes, and ground teams combed the suspected drop zone for weeks. Not a single trace of Cooper was found. No parachute, no body, no confirmed footprints, nothing. It was as if he had vanished into thin air. In 1980, nearly a decade later, a boy camping along the Columbia River uncovered a rotting package buried in the sand. Inside were $5,800 in $20 bills, decaying but intact. The serial numbers matched the D.B. Cooper ransom money, but still no body, no parachute, no further leads, just silence. Case became a cultural obsession. Books, documentaries, websites dedicated to decoding every clue. Hundreds of suspects were investigated. Some even confessed. One man, Richard McCoy, hijacked a plane in a similar fashion just 5 months later and was arrested. But the FBI ruled him out. In 2016, after 45 years, the FBI officially closed the case. D.B. Cooper had vanished, and the man who pulled off the only unsolved air piracy case in American history was never brought to justice. So who was he? Skydiver, a disgruntled airline employee, former military operative, or just a man with nothing to lose? We may never know. The name D.B. Cooper came from a media misprint. He never used it himself, but the legend remains. The hijacker who disappeared into the night and into American folklore. What do you think happened to D.B. Cooper? Did he die in a wilderness or live out his life in secret? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more cold cases and unsolved mysteries. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.